Mother's Day is just around the corner, and if the mom in your life loves to play outside, on the slopes or on the trail, we've got you covered. The Ski Mom's Mother's Day gift guide is live. We've rounded up our favorite picks for adventurous outdoorsy moms. From gear that goes the distance to wellness treats she'll actually use. Whether you're shopping for your own mom, dropping hints for yourself, or treating a ski buddy, you'll find thoughtful, mom-approved gifts at every price point. Check out the full guide at skimom.substack.com or head to theskimoms.co/gift guides, because the best gifts say, go play, I've got this.
Welcome to Season 4 of the Ski Moms podcast. We're your hosts, Nicole and Sarah.
The Ski Moms are so excited to talk to Kate Kegan today. She is the president of Scout Bags. We're going to tell you all about why we love these bags as we learned about Kate's career and her love of skiing. So welcome, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So we always love to kick off with the origin story, Kate. And I think that you're a Mid-Atlantic girl like I am. So tell us where you learned to ski.
I grew up primarily between Long Island and Boston. So I traveled back and forth between my two parents. So my dad took us to Stowe most of our time growing up. So I was actually searching my house this morning because I have the picture of the first time I went skiing in Stowe, but I have very fond memories.
Okay, so you learned in Stowe. Was this your dad teaching you?
Yes, my dad taught me the kind of classic worm between the two skis methodology. And I know you all love a good origin story. So his favorite story to tell was that he put me on skis. We did it once or twice. He hooked up the worm, and then I just took off and didn't stop and went straight into a snowbank. And I have no recollection of this, but it's a very fond memory for him. And it clearly didn't, stop me from future adventures.
Yeah, there's no evidence of it like there would be today, right? Like
Yes.
he would be following behind you and we would
Yeah.
be able to watch it in slow motion, but we
No,
just have to
there's
take his word
one-
for it.
One grainy photo. That's all that exists.
And I think we finally know, I call those things edgy wedgies. It attaches to both skis, and it's a little rubber mechanism that's supposed to help young kids figure out how to maneuver their skis into a wedge turn.
Yes.
Then from there, did you ski regularly? Did you make sure that you did regular trips? Did you do those college trips? How did it stay in your life?
So yes, we went to Stowe growing up every winter, throughout the winter. We would do the drive from Boston. And this was when, it was the use of like physical maps, another thing that we were reminiscing on yesterday when I was talking to my dad about this. And then as I got older, we actually started skiing out west more as well. So we spent a lot of time in Vail, which was like a whole new arena, from very, very tall, very icy, very cold chairlift rides to something a little bit different. And that was really fun. And we continued with that. And then in my adult life, I have two children. So I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. But in my adult life, we then did a little bit further exploration and actually went to Switzerland, which was amazing and a very new and different experience. And then we've actually tried a few of the Mid-Atlantic bunny slopes as we try to find something closer to home. And one of my favorites is also that I did a bachelorette trip for myself when I was getting married. We went to Sun Valley, Idaho to go skiing.
Bravo. And let's normalize options to the spa trips or Nashville. I don't know if you've seen the Nashville craze where everybody runs around in white cowboy boots.
I have.
Yeah.
I have. I feel like that's very common these days, as well as beach trips. And I did not have any friends who did something skiing oriented, but it actually made it so fun and different. And even my friends who had not really skied before gave it a shot. My maid of honor down the hill with the ski rescue team.
But Sun Valley has really fun shopping, restaurants. I would say that's a great bachelorette party. Park City could be a great bachelorette party. And then I'm going to go with Sundance because there's a lot of options for the ladies who don't want to maybe ski every day. That is a great idea, Kate. So let's jump in and talk a little bit about your career path. You've been with Scout for, I think, a decade. Did you know you always wanted to go into business running a business, making things, or how did you end up in this particular spot?
I started a business when I was in college. I had always kind of been in retail. My first job was when I was 13 as a sales associate. So I knew I had a love of that area, that market. And when I was in college, I launched my own business. And this was kind of at the height of vintage clothing. So I was buying vintage clothing, rehabbing and reselling it. And I had my own website. And I realized, this is very fun, but I need more of a understanding of small businesses and how to scale. So when I graduated, I went to work for a small entrepreneur who had her own shop as her assistant to learn how she operated. And then I migrated over to a jewelry company and I ran their wholesale. So kind of got onto the B2B side. And then I went to Scout from there. So it's actually almost 14 years in January, which is a lifetime. And it's been amazing to be part of this company. When I joined, we were 4 million and a really small group of people, primarily wholesale. And now we're very diversified, $20 million plus. And so it's been very amazing to watch this business change and evolve and for myself to evolve along with it as well.
And so for people that might not be familiar with Scout, just tell us a little bit more about the company.
Well, I would say as a brand, in terms of our mission, it all started with our chief creative officer, Deb, who had 4 kids and 4 dogs. They were very active. They were very sporty. And it all came to a head of those moments in her life when she had a lot of stuff and she needed a better place to put it. And I think, this following of that you all have very much identifies with that. That problem hasn't gone away. It's actually multiplied because there's a lot of statistics that show the American households now have more things than they've ever had before. So that's really what we stand for, is helping her solve for that and helping her feel like she has everything she needs in order to be able to provide for herself and her family. So there's a really amazing kind of emotionally rich connection that you won't necessarily know at a surface level when you are like, oh, a bag company. But in these amazing connections that we've had with people, we've really been able to unearth that further. As a business, we are primarily women's bags and accessories. We have a lot of different business channels that we sell through. So we have an amazing network of small specialty retailers, about 1,500 around the country that sell our products. We sell them online on our own site and Amazon. We also have corporate gifting. We can do Ski Moms branded bags. We have a lot of different things that we can do, a lot of muscles to flex.
I learned about them from a friend. I saw her carrying this amazing bag. It was huge. And I think it was called the 4 Boys bag.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
so great on brand. And they then quickly became a part of my life. Now, my problem and Sarah's problem is we buy these bags and then our college-age daughters, they disappear. And they go off to college with the kids because they're so lightweight but super sturdy. So they collapse and they can go under beds. They are the ultimate bag for that. But they're also so great for ski moms because, again, like our gear is just heavy and bulky and you don't want a bag that's adding weight to it and a bag that gets soggy. So is it proprietary, the finish on the bag?
Yeah. So we were actually one of the first brands to bring the fabric all-weather woven to market. When it was originally discovered, it was really like a street vendor bag fabric. And then Deb saw it as well in a very high-end store. She was a trend forecaster. So she always said, if you see it high and low, there's this opportunity to meet in the middle. And so that's where it all started with those products. And we've certainly added more of the 4 Boys, the original Dino. That was the first bag we ever made. And it's still the best-selling bag today, which is amazing. And as you already very well put, it's the properties of it being lightweight and then also very durable. It's actually a problem. You cannot kill these bags. They're very, very durable, but they can collapse and they can, you just don't have to worry about them. And I think that's the other thing, especially for the ski mom or any woman really, you don't want to have to worry about the bag in addition to everything else that you're trying to bring along with you. So we're just trying to make her life a little bit easier. But I think the twist on that is then the pattern as well. So we feel like that combination of a joyful, colorful bag that, makes you feel happy is what can make it really special. I actually just ran into a woman outside of the hospital here locally about a week ago, and she was finishing up her breast cancer treatments, and she said, "This is my Scout." I saw her Scout bag, and of course I had to say, "I love your bag. Tell me about it." And she said, "This is my talesman. This bag is so amazing, and I bring it with me to all my treatments because I can wipe it clean, but also this pattern just makes me happy." And so it was just such a great accolade from her, and I think it really sums up what we try to do.
I totally agree. Like, these bags somehow do make me feel happy. I was telling Nicole, I just got a new one and I'm going to put all my winter supplies for my car in it. And it's just going to look so cute instead of some big ugly bag. Forget what's in it. It's just that just seeing that in the back of my car somehow makes me feel happy. I love the colors. I love the feel of it. And I feel like I did buy one of the big ones with the zipper. Maybe it's a four boys for my daughter that's in college so that hopefully she stops stealing mine. But it is amazing. There's not that many things that both Nicole and I and our daughters actually both want and fight about. So that's another testament to this very special branded product.
Yeah, well, I love to hear that. And certainly I think the car is such a good call out because you're in the car so much of your time, especially when it doesn't feel put together. You don't necessarily feel put together. So having some of these things that can help us organize, but then also just feel, emotionally happy, that checks all the boxes. And then the third piece for us really is price point. We do not want these products to break the bank. Especially in skiing, it is so expensive. So, what can we do to make sure that we have a great product that also is going to be something that you could buy multiple of, or it's okay if your daughter takes it. You can always grab another because it won't break the bank.
Yeah, they make great graduation gifts. And for boys as well. There's a lot of gender neutral prints. So don't think that boys couldn't carry this as well. I would love to talk about the atmosphere at the Scout office. It sounds creative. It sounds collaborative. Do you have sort of a seasonal shift to what your job looks like? What is your typical day to day?
So it's interesting. I think as many people continue to face as well, we were all local and in office prior to COVID, and we have not returned to that since COVID, especially as we've tried to diversify our talent and, make our team ever more skillful. So it's been interesting to try to recreate that special nature of a small business virtually. But, we are still a family business. So Ben and Deb are very involved in the business. And so I think the family values that they've really established, we really try to keep alive in the core values that we've established for our company and trying to ensure that it is super personal and it's super transparent. And they always say, we have to agree on all the big things, but we can disagree on the small things. And so we really try to create, a horizontal environment where everyone is welcome to weigh in and make the ideas and the products stronger and, have a team that is, very collaborative, as you said, and creative, and that, they can all participate in things like our naming day. So you reference some of our product names, but we also name our patterns. And so everybody gets to weigh in on that. And it's fun to flex a different muscle as part of that. So I would say that's certainly an accolade to the culture. And often when people interview, the number one thing they always say they love most about Scout is the people they work with, because it really is this very, very smart, very hardworking, largely female group that we have running the company. For myself, in terms of what my day looks like, is the second part of your question. As my husband jokes, I am a professional meeting attendee. I'm in meetings constantly. I talk a lot. And that's really because I'm working with all the different departments throughout the organization. So I'm switching from finance to product to marketing to sales and back and forth operations, and really ensuring everything is working in concert. And so I enjoy it because, you get to see the total picture, you get to, dream up these ideas and get to see them put into action and execution. But it certainly creates something that I always have to manage, which is time and space for myself to think and be able to look forward as opposed to just, being tactically within the business every day.
And do you go into an office at all?
I do. Yes. So we still have a DC office. I am here in DC. And so I go to the office about 3 days a week. We have a one required in-office day for our local employees. So they're in on those days. And then we have, people rotating in and out on other days. So I enjoy it. My daughter is in school right next to my office. So it's, you've developed that system where you can get to drop off, get to the office, be a part of that everyday cycle and not, be in your car the whole day either.
And tell me about the prints. I am very much drawn to color. I worked at Ralph Lauren for years and I was a buyer. So I loved always going back into the design offices and seeing the scraps of fabric that they had found at this place or a flea market sweater that they had found. How do you all keep challenging the prints and making it seem fresh?
It's honestly really hard. And I absolutely cannot take any credit for that. That is all the design team, and really Deb as a chief creative officer, she really is driving the print development. But it's 4 seasons a year and they're all original patterns and we largely don't repeat. So the pressure of the newness is very real. And so in terms of how it's developed, we actually work out 15 plus months in advance of a season. So when it also looks kind of, you asked the question around the shifts in our business, we're working in 4 seasons at one time. And so we were just looking at prototypes for spring 26 yesterday, which is totally turns you around sometimes in terms of what time of, I'm sure at Ralph Lauren, you understand that, Nicole, from your time there, but she's working at 15 months and we're starting, with what is she seeing in the general world and trend. And she travels to some of the kind of major fashion hubs to get some of that inspiration. And then we're also coming from our distribution channels to say, here's what we're seeing on the shelf. This is an opportunity. So a more recent example being as we go into spring 25, we're having a lemon pattern for the first time. And bringing in a new motif does get, especially our longtime partners, really excited. Most retailers we sell to have been with us for over 7 years on average. So they're very dedicated. They're very involved in that as well. And so we're continuing to try to say, how can we evolve? How do we be consistent? But then how do we bring something new to the table as well?
We just have to promise that you'll continue to do a wintry ski print every year. I mean, if it's selling out every year, there's got to be demand for the ski moms. This year, there's Knit Happens, which is a really cute name. It's sort of a Fair Isle sweatery.
Yes.
And then Lift Ticket. And
yes, that's correct. We do have 2 collections that are available year round. Our state prints and our signature prints, which are more kind of, basic stripes. But the seasonal prints are limited edition. And the winter, is specifically interesting because in the summer window of time, everyone's a little bit more oriented to the same idea of like bright, waterside, etc. But then it gets very divergent in the fall and winter. So, what feels wintry to South Carolina does not feel wintry to New England. And so we've definitely been trying to, as we regionally expand, try to be able to satisfy all of those wants and needs from the different areas.
One of my favorite Scout products is some of the soft side coolers. Are those things that we can only find maybe in the summer collections? Because sometimes I feel like I don't see them as often or everywhere as I do the bags.
Yes. So bags are definitely the vast majority of what we sell. Coolers are next in line. And we do offer soft-sided coolers throughout the year, but it may be different styles. I feel like anyone from my company will laugh as they hear me say this, but I'm very passionate about our lunch coolers. And that's actually the second highest search term for our brand is the lunch bag. And I think those are just really unique products. We carry them year round. They're such a great price point. They're really fun and happy, and they really accomplish what you need. And lunch bags continue to have an increased interest when you look at the search and SEO for the larger World Wide Web. It seems like there's continued demand for that. So we're certainly continuing to try to have year-round programs.
I want a limited edition Ski Mom's lunch bag, Sarah. I want to see it in all the lodges.
Nicole loves her swag. She would love that.
I was looking at the swag. It looked like there was a place for it.
Don't give her any more ideas. I'm just keeping her in stickers as much as I can. So what about outside of the US? Can we find Scout outside of the US?
So largely we are domestic. We do have some Caribbean distribution, so kind of down into the islands, but largely it is just the US today. And we have one or two Canadian outposts, but we are largely, even when you look at the United States, we have really been east of the Mississippi. So because we were first in wholesale, we have a very East Coast based retailer footprint. And so we are continuing to try to expand, diversify in which we are already in. So, other verticals that you could find us in, like, for example, more ski, but then also going out westward, how can we continue to also find more moms in need there as well?
I'd love to see them collaborated with every college. Could you imagine like a college print on these bags? That would be or sorority.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And that opens up into a whole interesting world of licensing and and this gets more into the business side of, can you do a piggyback license and you're working with another distributor so that they can really manage that and we're not having to take on an enormous amount of SKUs in order to be able to satisfy all of these different universities. So it's something we talk about a lot because we believe that as well. It's a natural fit. We already work with some schools that are carrying our products or they're gifting our products or they're customizing our products. So there's certainly a lot of opportunity there for more.
Ski mountains would be huge. Now we're using these as goodie bags. So we're planning our Ski Moms events this season, and everyone who attends one of the Ski Moms events is going to get a goodie bag. Now, we didn't have time to customize them this year, but we were able to get the ski print. So we were able to jump on that a little bit. But they are amazing goodie bags because then I thought about this because I was gifted one at an event years ago, and it's my essential, like popping into the market to pick up a few things bag. And we thought the same thing. Like, those disposable goodie bags have no place. I don't need 1,000 of those cheap fabric totes that can't hold anything. I want a sturdy bag. So I think that they're really essential for that. And I think that they're going to become like a Ski Mom's collector's item.
It sounds like a reason to go to the event. Not just the event itself, but just swag.
It's so true. So we did want to have you on to talk a little bit about organization as well, because bags and organization go hand in hand. And your kids are the perfect age to be talking about this. At 2 and 5, it's not like they can be in charge of their own stuff. So when you're getting ready to go skiing, how are you making sure that you do not forget the tiny mittens and the tiny socks? How are you staying on top of all the things?
And it is something I am constantly trying to hack and evolve. How can I continue to improve my system? But I certainly start a couple of days in advance. It never, leading to the last minute does not work. And I would say it also starts with the organization in home because we do organizational bins as well. So in our mudroom, there are specific bins that we have tried to put at child level where it's like the gloves go back here. Gloves are like the thing that kill me. There's always a missing glove. If we keep them in the places where they should exist, it makes it easier to pack when it does become time. And I certainly do a lot of compartmentalization within my home or within my packing to say, this is where I'm going to put my sons and my daughters and myself. And our 4 boys bag, as a good tip, you actually can check that. And oftentimes I don't think people realize that because it's not a traditional suitcase, but I cannot go back to a suitcase now because these bags fit so much more. So I can really we have some packing cubes as well. So I create the compartments within the larger bag, and it has that maximum capacity zipper. So you can really fill it to the total top and still get it closed very easily. And then, of course, it's very lightweight. So if you're traveling or if you're flying and the gear itself is very heavy, this isn't going to add to that. So I would say making sure everything is organized at home to make it easy to pack, to compartmentalize, using these very large capacity, lightweight bags is amazing. And then having some of the foldable totes that we carry packed within, because inevitably, it's not going to go back in just the way you intended. So making sure you have some of those available also is a great hack. And then I focus a lot on the actual travel bag itself, like really specific styles, especially for flying, that make it easy for accessing things under the seat, like the Ben Johns bag. Like that's just the perfect bag for easy access under the airplane.
Spring is here, and it's time to swap ski boots for hiking boots. Ulster County in the Catskills is the perfect spot for your spring adventure. Think waterfalls, wildflowers, and wide open spaces to recharge. Hike to breathtaking waterfalls at Minnewaska State Park, then unwind at Wildflower Farms, an all-bears resort with farm-to-table dining and serene meadows. Make it a family trip with Rocking Horse Ranch, TripAdvisor's #1 all-inclusive family resort. Or try Auto Camp, Catskills' unique nature experience. For outdoor thrills, pedal along the Esopus Creek with Rail Explorers or cast a line with Catskill Outfitters. And don't miss the stunning tulip festivals at Kelder's Farm and Mohonk Mountain House. Spring into your next adventure. Plan your trip at visitulstercountyny.com.
So for a ski mom that's maybe looking to buy her first few Scout bags, what would you recommend? You have a lot of products. I love the site. I go on there, but then I do get a little bit like I want all of it. But if I'm going to maybe just buy 2 ski mom starter bags, what would you recommend?
So I do think one of the large bags, either the 4 boys or the 3 girls, which is a slightly smaller variation, I do think it's going to really help you with a lot of the kind of odd sized objects with helmets and the gloves and the boots, etc. It's going to be able to contain all of that. And I think a nice piece as well, especially if there's, multiple family members, is having 2 different colors of those bags. And then they know, who is designated to said color or pattern. I'm wrestling between the Dino and the baguette, but I'm going to go with the idea of the baguette because this bag is so amazing. And oftentimes, which a lot of the styles I'm speaking of, all have a square or a rectangular shaped bottom. And you don't realize until you have a bag like that how much you needed a bag like that because it does not fall over. It's very structured, even though it can still fold flat, but it fits so many of those objects that kind of tapered bag just doesn't do well for you. So I find that to be perfect. But every time I take it to the grocery, people stop you. They legitimately stop you and they're like, where did you get that bag? Like that, it fits so much more. It's so much easier to carry. You're always trying to bring all the bags in at one time, and these make it so much easier. Even the cashiers themselves love these bags. I had a woman at Trader Joe's here who ended up coming to our store after I shopped with her at Trader Joe's to buy the same bags as well. So I would say a baguette and a 4 boys.
Yeah, I have the baguette and I walked into my friend's house. I was staying with her and I had all sorts of food and wine in it. And I walked in and right away, the first thing she said to me was like, where did you get that bag? Which I thought was so funny because we don't usually talk about our, storage bags, shopping bags to that extent. I mean, everyone can see the benefit once they see you, how much you can fit, probably 4 or 5 bags of groceries in one of these and just walk out.
It's like actually one of the biggest challenges we have as a company with marketing and photography because people don't necessarily have these bags. So trying to explain them even in a website setting and show someone all the things it can do without, giving them a novella about a bag they need to purchase is something we really struggle with and continue to try to work on. So
Yeah, the sturdy base is so key because I've done that dance with my toe peg. I set it down, you see it start to list over to one side. I'm like, okay, maybe I have to flip it the other way. And it starts to lean over again. And you're like, oh my God, all the stuff is going to fall out of this bag. But these are square bottomed or rectangular bottoms. So when you set them down, they just stay in place. There's not any of this leaning that happens. And that's when the drinks spill inside of it or the soup spills or whatever else you've got in there, or you lose things. It's a really well designed bag. You do have the kids who are kind of the perfect ages, and we have so many families who are starting to ski. Have you taken them any place close to you in DC?
yeah, there's a variety of mountains nearby. We did take my son, so we have taken him skiing nearby, and it's good for kids because it's very easy. And so we've started him. We are now going to try to start my daughter this coming winter, which is very exciting. And I think that would, for me at least, feel like I can now get back to this because even when I took my son, you're pregnant and it's so much schlepping. So I'm really excited because skiing it's such a fantastic sport. And it's such a great time to spend the day and also connecting with your family. You're able to have fun discussions and eat lunch together and in some cases be on the chairlift together. And I just have such fond memories of it. So I'm excited to get back more to it.
So do you think this winter will be more about local day trips?
Yes. Yeah. So there's one of our friends here locally as well. He has 2 boys and has given us a system to follow. So like exactly what time to leave, how to get there, where to park, and how to maximize so that you could do some day trips more easily and then begin to venture beyond.
So your car is going to be packed to the brim. And the good news is they'll sleep the entire way home after a day of skiing.
Exactly. And I have all the bags in which I need to make that possible.
But I do think it's really important what you're saying is to not give up. I know these years are hard, and I want to give the moms out there a pep talk because the second kid, the third kid, the fourth kid, it can get really exhausting and expensive, but sticking with it is important because if you want to envision yourself with your teenagers on the chairlift where Sarah and I are now, we had to get through those years. And now, we've got them captive on a chairlift and they'll talk to us about everything. I mean, it all comes out on the chairlift, which is so great. And they want to take these trips. My daughter's going with me to Alta for 2 days. She wants to take a trip with her mom. I mean, number one, because I'll pay for it. But number two, it's this experience, something we do together. It's not just being together, it's doing together. So my advice is stick with through all these sticky meltdown years. It's so worth it on the other end.
Yeah, definitely. And there are really not a lot of family sports like that. Like it's just, there's not a lot of options. I think, we spend a lot of our time doing local sports with our kids, but it's us, sitting on the sidelines and, obviously we take a lot of joy in watching them, but doing it, to your point, together and having that shared memory and time and, just being in a different setting, I think is a totally different atmosphere.
And we always close with a little talk about après. And après with the 3 and a 5-year-old is going to look very different than it did. So let's talk about what it looked like before kids. And then you can tell us sort of what you're picturing on the way home from your day trips.
Yes, this is a good question. Let's see. Prior to children, I would say I'm not really a hot toddy girl. Like I would either go like a hot chocolate if it was non-alcoholic, like something really rich with the whipped cream and all the toppings type of thing. Or if it was, more on the alcoholic side, I would probably go with wine. Like there's just nothing like red wine to me that I feel like is very comforting, especially because it's not necessarily cold. So it's kind of warming me up afterwards. I do also love a Moscow Mule. So, and it has to be, it's not traditionally this way, but I love a coupe. There's something about that specific type of glass that feels very fanciful, like very, treat yourself. So that would be my pre-children approach. Now I would say, it ends up being more like food oriented. I don't even know if they have them anymore, but the waffle fries and Stowe were like my thing as a child. Those I have, I dream of those. So I would say, something probably more in a food category that we could enjoy easily, maybe in a car ride back would be something we would indulge upon.
Kate, it has been so much fun talking with you. I think everybody's going to be racing off to the Scout site. Hopefully they waited to the end of the podcast, not mid-podcast. And we wish you so much luck with your launch for your 3-year-old this season. Think happy thoughts. I remember singing to my 3-year-old too as we were skiing. I would sing I was just making up stuff as we were going. And then she would start singing, and it made everybody so much more relaxed.
Okay, that's a great tip. The books and the singing. Got it.
Sarah, you got anything for beginners?
We always talk about a few little treats in our pockets, something that doesn't freeze too much, maybe a few gummy bears. We don't want to overdo it with the sugar, but I think that there's a time and a place, and definitely the first time out skiing could be the place.
Love that. Incentives.
That's
And is there anything that you wanted to mention before we let you go, Kate?
No, just thank you so much for having me and letting me be part of this. I really enjoyed learning more about Ski Moms and your background, Nicole. And it's just, I think, an amazing group. In this more modern day, the village is less of a thing, and that's really hard. So having a community is something that I think is really special. And so hats off to you both for creating this and continuing to shepherd it forward. And we are happy to be a part of it. And we would love to be in the back of all of your cars. And we look for more partnership together as much as we can in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Ski Moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing.
Hey, Ski Moms, ready to make the 2024-25 ski season your best one yet? Well, right now, if you buy the 25-26 Icon Pass Season Pass, you can ski at select destinations for the rest of this season, as well as all of next year. You can make memories over spring break and even more on the slopes all next season. Starting March, you can lock in the lowest prices of the season and score big on Icon Pass renewals and new sales. Whether you're carving up your favorite local mountain or exploring new terrain at iconic destinations, the Icon Pass gives you access to more than 60 resorts worldwide. Don't miss out on this incredible value. Grab your pass and start planning those amazing family adventures today. Head to iconpass.com to learn more.